So we got the call, our frame is done being sandblasted. So we're gonna load up the old FJ40, get the trailer hooked up, head down there, pick this thing up, and we got a little bit of work to do to this thing when we get it home before we paint it. So I guess when they unloaded it, like I previously said, they screwed up one of the reservoir mounts for the, or actually two of the reservoir mounts for the front shocks. So we got to cut those off. I got new ones we're gonna weld on, and then we should be pretty much ready to go unless they messed anything else up. So we'll see once we go get the frame, get it back in the shop, see what we need to do to get this thing in primer and paint. So we're going to use the same paint as we did on the front axle, the Eastwood epoxy primer. Probably just do one nice heavy coat of that, and then we're going to do 2 coats of the Eastwood chassis black. Now Eastwood does have a few different kinds of their chassis paint. I really like it's called the 2K ceramic. Now this one is a 2-part paint, which in my opinion is much better than a 1-part paint. It's got the hardener in it that actually hardens the paint. A 1-part paint really doesn't harden that great. So with the hardener and the catalyst in it, you get a lot better coating. So like I said, we're going to do a couple coats of the black on it and get this frame looking brand new again. Well, we got a frame back. Here it is. Didn't turn out too bad. Like the last one they did, I mean, they missed a couple spots here and there. It's a little light up there. It needs some touch-ups, and then kind of back in through here. Looks like they missed inside of there. So not a huge deal to me. They only charged me 3 pizzas to blast this thing. That's all they wanted, was some pizza for lunch. So not too bad. That's better than I can do for 30 bucks. But either way, the game plan for today is we got to replace these little tabs here. You can see when they picked it up with the forklift, they broke. Well, that one's not terrible. I'm gonna cut both of them off and replace them. I got new ones right here. And then to touch up those areas that they missed, I kind of want to just make sure we're doing this right. Plus, I've needed one of these for a while. I bought one of these pressure pot sandblasters, so I'm hoping that when I sandblast in here, it doesn't get sand over the entire shop. I'm hoping it doesn't, it just kind of makes a mess over here. I can sweep it up and we can move on to paint. So first things first, let's get those tabs replaced, and then we'll bust out the sandblaster, see if that thing even does anything. It was cheap. It was like 150 bucks. So I figured having that is going to be super nice for this axle. That one wasn't in too bad a shape, so I wasn't worried about that. But this one is, man, it's just so rusty. It's gonna be so much easier just to sandblast it instead of trying to grind in all these little tight areas. If I can get that blaster to work and blast this thing, it's gonna save me so much time, and it's just gonna end up so much better. So that's the game plan. Let's get to work. Let's cut these tabs off and start sandblasting, get this thing painted. I am going to go through with a coat of epoxy primer, and then once that dries up, I got internal frame coating. We're gonna get this inside of this frame painted, and then we'll move on to our chassis paint. Well, boys, we got a problem. This sand I bought is freaking huge and it's just clogging up that tip. So I can't, it's like a porcelain tip. I tried drilling it, it doesn't drill. What I'm gonna do, I mean, it was cheap. I bought that at like Tractor Supply. It was like 12 bucks for a bag, but it's not gonna work. So I have this old stuff out of my blast cabinet. It's just kind of a mixture of junk and it's probably, I mean, it's old. It's probably not gonna work that great, but we're gonna give it one last go around on this frame and see if we can touch everything up with this. I still do need to find another sand that's a little bit finer, but isn't $100 a bag like the stuff I've been buying for my blast cabinet. So I still got to find something to use, but for now we're gonna try this stuff. We got to empty this out and we'll try this. Hopefully this stuff's got a little bit of a grit left to it and we can actually do some damage to this thing. Well, there we go, guys. So the process, what we did, I did a coat of primer, like I said, and then all they had was that green internal frame coating, which is not a big deal. It's the inside of the frame, but we did 2 coats. I went down both frame rails twice, and then I also hit like way up under here where I couldn't get on both sides, and any of the areas inside the motor mounts too with that internal frame coating. And then we did 2 coats of the chassis black paint, and this thing looks awesome. I love this paint. It's got like the perfect sheen. It's got a little bit of a shine to it, but it's not super glossy. It's perfect for a frame, I think. Well, we're gonna give this a couple days to dry up. In the meantime, we still got the rear axle to rebuild. We got gears, lockers, and everything for the rear axle, so we gotta dive into that. So once that is done, then we can throw all the suspension on for good. Finally get this thing back together on its own weight. I'm so excited to see this thing sitting without sitting on the lift. I want to see it on its own weight. I'm so excited for that. And then we have, it's honestly kind of overwhelming how much time and work we have to put into this cab. I think the kind of the game plan with that is I am going to set it back onto the frame with the suspension and everything on, just because we're going to have to do something with the rear quarter panels and the front fenders, and I kind of want to do that on the frame with the wheels and tires on, so I kind of know where to make the fenders and everything. And then once we get all that sheet metal done, we'll probably take the cab back off. We got to completely paint the inside, the underside. We're probably going to do some Raptor liner, and I don't know, we'll see what happens, but I'm very excited for it. But honestly, like I said, it's going to be so much work. We have a bunch of rust to cut out as well. Well, anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Why don't you go smash that thumbs up button, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one.